Fletcher? What happened?
My wife. She's alive. Vault's holding the captive somewhere. And right now, we're in a little bit of trouble.
Are you fucking with us?
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup. I am Bo Oliver, joined today by Aaron, the Nerd Soup Monkey, and Teddy, and we are back to review The Boys, Season 2, Episode 4, spoiler discussion for Nothing Like It in the World. All right, let's get right into the episode. Ted, since you weren't on the official review, the
good one.
Not the official, but the first review.
That was
right?
rude.
Yeah. The one with clips and animations and...
The A-Team.
All the kids like that. Yeah, right.
That's the... I need to be on that one.
This is the post-game shoot-around.
How bad do you want to be on that one?
Like, real bad.
How much? You have my Venmo. Pony up.
Patreon.com/nerdsoup. Yeah, I think it's 50 to suggest no, but Ted, we'll start with your thoughts on the season overall, because you haven't been on
I know.
a Boys video. We thought you didn't like the show, but...
Keep going. You gonna keep going?
Marissa was busy, right? Can we get that out?
Yeah, last minute she called in. She's like, is Nash watching?
No, I really like where they're going with this season, and it's crazy to think that we're halfway through and it dropped fucking 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it is. That 3-episode drop,
I know.
It just speeds it up.
We're
close to the finale, man. What is it?
4 episodes away, man.
Yeah, 4 episodes. We're already mid-season.
All the characters, their developments are going great. I love all their side stories that they're going on right now. All their plots, I'm just waiting for them to all converge again.
Right, yeah. I think that this season it's been interesting that you see the weight of the superhero world on all of the characters' shoulders.
Yeah, everyone's separating.
Yeah, in their own way. I mean, the episode begins with Frenchie, and he's by himself doing drugs. He makes a move on Kimiko. Then he has to kind of take a step back and figure himself out. And, of course, Homelander has been doing that throughout the show, throughout Season 2 and Season 1 as well. But we see in him embracing his past once again with Madeline Stillwell in this episode.
I thought she was going to be a clone.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I said on the normal.
There had to be. Good
review.
For your first sight of her, that's like the first thing is cloning them when they fucking reveal a doppelganger. That was just weird.
Right, yeah, and it was Stillwell who uses doppelganger in Season 1, right, to blackmail the senator?
Yeah.
So it was a nice callback, and of course, getting Elizabeth Shue back in this role.
Yeah, Ted, that begs a question. Would you, with Doppelganger?
Turn it into Margot Robbie?
That's what I was thinking. Like, I'm not gonna just dismiss it. If he turns into Margot Robbie in front of me, I'm gonna.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I'm not gonna say no. It depends who you turn into.
But to see Elizabeth Shue back in the role, and like you said, you don't know if she's a clone, and you get the reveal. But she was great in that performance because she's very awkward. The way that she's talking to Homelander, you can tell that she has a sense of how she's supposed to act and the relationship that they had.
Well, going back to Doppelganger real quick, I'm surprised that he wasn't in the 7 instead of Translucent, because Doppelganger, he can turn into anybody, and Translucent can only turn into John Cena.
God. One thing I will say, though, I am skeptical on Butcher's plot, because the whole first season, he is trying to get to his wife, and then they open up 3 episodes in, and he gets to his wife.
Right.
And now he's nowhere to go.
I wanted to bring up that Becca, when she tells Butcher to go away, that they can't be together, that he's been on this warpath before they even got together.
Right.
And he does mention in that scene where they have sex and they're smoking the cigarette, reminiscing, that she saved him, so he would never give up on her. And you could tell the interactions that they have, she's looking at him in a different way and just waiting to tell him that she's not going to go with him and that you're too violent, you're on this rampage that's never going to stop. It's not even about me anymore.
Yeah.
But are they going to address that again? What did Butcher do?
But you got to think that she could have went with him in hopes to change his mind on the kid, and they just completely dropped it.
Well, I think he also makes a logical point that it is $1 billion
100%.
piece of, like,
you can't go anywhere
it's
with
like
it.
like a piece of equipment. It's Becca's child, but the way the corporation views this child is, no, that's our investment. So it really is, the life they would have would be something completely different. And also with her, too, the way she raised this child, it's like, it's a bit of a culture shock. Imagine just bringing him out into the real world, that confrontation and admitting to him that you've been lying to him all these years.
I think Homelander helped her out, though. I really think Homelander, bridged the gap and that she would have had to bridge herself that she probably couldn't have done. And
how do you tell this kid that he has powers?
Yeah.
Also, your dad is Homelander.
Right. Well, I mean, in our eyes, he's a horrible person, but in public's eyes, he's a saint.
Yeah, and you do have to feel bad for the character of Becca because spending all that time alone, having to keep up this charade, it's kind of like being a character in The Truman Show. That's really what she's doing for this kid. And with Butcher, you made the point in the last episode that the kid is in the back of his mind. When he's thinking about helping Becca escape, he's not taking into account that Ryan can't possibly fly over the wall or climb over the wall, or what will happen to this kid if they do escape and what comes after them. And I was wondering if Becca just wants to see this thing through. She obviously loves her child, and we see this all the time. It's like Brie Larson's character in The Room.
Yeah.
But she has the chance to leave though with him too. It's like I really think she should have took that out. Like that was her chance to get out with him.
Where do they go though?
Anyway, they can just disappear, and then if
Well, I
Butcher
guess,
doesn't
yeah.
change, then you just leave him. You
In
leave
this
Butcher.
universe, you could be the most wanted man in the world and just walk
never
into
get
the
caught.
diner, walk into it's the Simpsons episode.
Well, now
there they
Butcher.
are.
Well, now Butcher's fucked. So because Black Noir's on his ass.
Well, that was interesting as well because we learned in this episode that Homelander and Becca made a deal. So not only did Homelander let Billy escape, but he seems to be not pursuing him and just allowing the boys to wander around, even though Vault News has their name plastered on every television.
Or have any question because he fucking flipped off the camera. Like he wasn't even trying to hide himself.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, Butcher sees the camera and he flips it off, and Black Noir is frustrated by this woman eating the Almond Joy. Two Almond Joys in this episode.
Yeah, so was Huey. He was tight too.
Yeah.
Actually, I was pretty pissed too.
Now, is that-
No
Almond
one
Joys.
likes Almond. I like Almond Joys.
A trash can.
That's a bit.
I also like Charleston Chew.
That was a bad top three.
Charleston, you freeze a Charleston chew? Now we're talking.
The top three though.
Oh no, top three
No,
is
that's
ridiculous.
I wouldn't put Almond Joys in my top 3.
The thing with Almond Joy, was that a product placement? Like, does that benefit them? Any publicity is good
Where's Almond
publicity?
Joy
Because people are just shitting on them in this one.
No, I think that's if you like the Almond Joy, you like the Almond Joy. That's
You know what comes with being an Almond Joy.
it's a reminder.
Yeah, you're gonna get shit on.
Yeah.
People who like the Almond Joy don't actively seek it out, but you see it on the boys. Oh, I like an Almond Joy. I might get one.
When I was a kid, my mom was an Almond Joy person. When I was a kid, Halloween, just do those all to her.
You
What
know
about
what's
mounds?
You know what's so fucked up is that I wouldn't mind buying one and trying it now.
Well, I like coconut and chocolate. Well, Black Noir, he continues to be the most mysterious character in
Love
the
him.
show. But they're showing him more and more. In season 1, he was very much in the shadows, and it fits his character. But now they're giving him more comedic moments that, from his perspective, he seems to be the one that wants to hunt down the boys. And I've read a couple theories about that. I'll leave it at that.
I was gonna say you're gonna share it. Or
Yeah, no, I'll just leave it at that.
I'm
But
not looking it up.
that was a funny scene when she's like, "Oh, or you can join me."
He sat there for like
It's-
20 hours.
Sat right next to her. Yeah, but the Butcher, he does leave the boys, but he does have that moment with Grace. And it was nice to get that scene between them because Grace talks about the dream that she has at Carnegie Hall, looking at all the faces of the people that she's convinced to fight with her and all the people that I guess she feels that she's wronged because she's dragged them deeper into this fight. And that's a common theme throughout this episode. Mother's Milk discusses it and calls it a disease. But Grace, I wonder if we'll see more of her. Where did she get that information about Liberty? She's like the non-playable character in a video game that just gives you your next quest.
Yeah,
She's a know-all that stays in the shadows too.
Yeah, she's Mr. No One.
Yeah.
she definitely is like one of those who like thrive in the private sector. She's definitely had a pass.
You
Probably.
think she's a lobbyist right now? She's caking, dude. You saw that house? Season
Yeah.
1? It's a nice lakeside house.
So it's a different type of connect from Raynor because obviously she has authority, but I think that Grace still is in the know about all the dealings, all the inside and out with Vought and some of the super and everything going on with the soups. So
Grace is very much back into the CIA or the FBI, whatever she was part of, because she wasn't part of it season 1, and I guess she's coming back in now. And
Yeah,
now she's getting more information. She's able to like play with the team now.
She seems like such a veteran that she's got so many connects.
Yeah, she can go in and out if she wants, really.
Right, yeah. She doesn't have an official position. Almost like Mycroft Holmes, you know? She's an advisor that people trust.
Mm-hmm.
And and she trusts Butcher with this information about Becca and also the information about Liberty. And that's what the boys do in this episode. Mother's Milk, Huey, and they convince Starlight.
Bro, I love Mother's Milk.
Mother's Milk
He's really growing on me.
I think he might be my favorite character
Yeah.
in this show. He is just fantastic.
I feel so bad for this guy, man. This man just wants to go home to his kids, and now he's leading the group. He's further from ever from getting home.
Yeah, I just love the way he carries himself. You know, he's as hard as anybody in the show, but he's not afraid of being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And you saw that with him and Starlight reminiscing about their fathers. But he's got great charisma, man.
Yeah, he's stern too. Like he stopped Starlight from going to help those people.
Dude, how
That's
about
a tough
Billy
position.
Joel? Fucking appearing all over this season. he doesn't need it.
He's
but
a dick though for cutting that song short. They were getting ready to groove.
that's annoying.
yeah,
Don't.
They're sharing a moment, and he seems like he's into them. He's not into them being
It's not
together,
their
but he wants them to be
chaperone. I love
together.
that. Yeah, that's what I was like. Don't
It's not a
treat
road
Mother's
trip.
Milk like
Yeah. He's not a chaperone.
They were nailing those lyrics though.
yeah. It's probably the most unrealistic thing about this show. is being able to nail those lyrics. I like the song.
Easily.
I can give you bits and pieces, but I can't
I like
get a
the "We
streak
didn't
like
start the
that.
fire" part. That's
I just know
always
that
my favorite.
Richard Nixon,
Yeah.
something.
JFK.
China's under martial law.
I didn't know that was in there until they said it. After seeing all the protests she's done and all the riots she's been causing with trying to take down Vought, kind of like from within, it's weird. Vought has to know her background, right? And why they would let her say all this stuff out. I want to know what Vaught's plan is with her.
Well, yeah,
we
she
haven't
said
seen
that.
Stan Edgar, and he put her in the 7. There has to be a connection there.
Well, they said that Vought obviously knew because she made some kind of arrangement with them to take, what is it, a $2,000 settlement?
Yeah. And they focused on Huey because he remembered that ridiculous settlement he got
Yeah.
for Robin. It was like $25,000. This billion-dollar, probably trillion-dollar company in this world. But Stormfront, that reveal is pretty major.
I wish that was an actual twist for me. I wish I didn't know that beforehand.
Well, I mean, we kind of you start to put the pieces together
Yeah.
when you get glimpses of the character, and it looks like in that flashback sequence that she had blonde hair. And this moment, it also relates to the scene that she has with Homelander, where she talks about how she really admires him, but she understands that the world is changing, and she says that I've adapted with the times. You get that look into what this character truly is, and she's just a vile and vicious human being.
That was
and
an
someone
issue.
who was protected by Vought. I mean, Vought, just a terrible company.
Well, I think that was one of the better scenes of this episode was between Homelander and Stormfront when they had that conversation, because they're both two despicably terrible characters, and
And she's trying to help him kind of rebrand that despicable image.
I really
they're both
thought
like
first-
kind of like jarring back and forth, and it's like you kind of just want, like, it's not like you're rooting for one of them to get the upper hand on each other, but it's kind of like interesting to see how their interactions unfold.
I really thought they were going to try and make us feel for Homelander.
Well, that's the thing with this character has so many layers, and Anthony Starr brings all those layers to life perfectly. When he's rattling off how well he does with different demographics,
Yeah.
he's a child, and then he could flip the switch, and all of a sudden he's this intimidating evil Superman character.
And then she starts hitting him with facts, and then he's getting ready to kill her because he's not liking what he's hearing.
Well, that's the thing. Homelander is a very smart individual, and he is going to try and make
He's
the
so
decisions
manipulative.
that benefit himself. So he's listening to Starlight and probably taking her advice. I mean, it's only a matter of episodes until these two bang, right? That's the natural progression of this relationship, that she's going to try and become his more, I guess, strong-handed
Team
Stillwell.
up together. And
Yeah, it looks like she was trying to seduce him a little bit when she was like walking around him slowly and things like that. And
now we know she's like 70 years old, and Homelander's into that. You know?
But
He likes the older women.
it also seems like she's trying to get him on her side.
it's all a manipulation play, I think, because you could say that maybe she, like you said, that she kind of admires Homelander, but it could all just be playing him into her hand for her.
Well, no, I think it's more of, look what I've done with my image
Yeah.
in just a couple of weeks.
Right,
Imagine
exactly.
what you could do.
Yeah.
And if and then if he thanks her or feels gratitude towards her, you never know. Yeah, but I think it is more of a manipulation tactic, and of course it ties into a whole conspiracy with Vought. This is the new conspiracy, the Liberty character, the possibilities of Compound V, because they talk about that as well. How is this character? How does she still look so young? So it kind of opens up the doors for new sci-fi ideas.
I wonder if we have an age on the characters right now in the 7, like how old Maeve is and.
Well,
how
I kind of
old
like
Homelander
how
is.
mysterious they all are. And-
Maeve is mysterious, man. She's like second in command, and you barely see her in the show. She's only doing like talk shows.
Yeah, you barely see her, and she's a great actress. When Homelander says that Maeve never lies, and she gives him that look in the middle of that interview. Yeah, no, and of course what he does to her in this episode is horrific. And that's the thing. It's not only violence with this character; it's these personal jabs that he can take at you that can be that can destroy you.
I really think he's gonna show up at any given scene and kill somebody. At every scene with Huey and Starlight, I think he's gonna show up and just kill her.
It's just a control play. I think he needs to be in everybody's business, know everything about everybody, and just hold it over their heads for some reason, because he's obviously powerful enough to control them in that instance, but it's all mind games with him. He needs to be able to control you physically and mentally.
Yes.
And just hold everything he can over you.
It's like that scene with Starlight in the elevator. He has no limitations. And I think a lot of it is the brand that they built around Homelander is kind of a myth. It's fake. It's bullshit. It's all publicity. And he's starting to realize that. My power is something that doesn't exist. It's a brand. And now he's trying to exert this power in ways that can be dangerous. And that's frightening for the character of Starlight. She says to Huey, it's like a dark shadow following me around all the time. Mm-hmm. And she does have that escape, and that's nice to see Huey and Starlight having just a a normal relationship when they're going back and forth competing over whose life is worse.
Yeah, their moments together, it was nice to see them have a somewhat normal relationship. And yeah, I mean, everything these characters have been going through these past couple of seasons, it's a nice moment. It's something where if something happens down the line where you can look back and be like, oh, that was nice.
Yeah, at least they did it.
Do you consider her a member of the boys?
I don't know. I think if she would have stayed, if she would have stayed after that little escape, I think then you could have. But she keeps going back. Like, she doesn't want to be, like, she wants to be part of this, but she doesn't want to be part of it. She wants to, like, help.
I do hate that when they do that in stories. We can't be together, and eventually. I mean, obviously.
But they meet up every day.
But it makes sense. Huey's like, no, we can still do this. And Starlight's like, do you understand what type of predicament we're in here? You're on the top 10 FBI most wanted.
Well, it's the parallels, Becca and Butcher, right?
Yeah,
it's kind of the same thing where they obviously want to be together, but just the circumstances surrounding them, it's impossible at this moment. So,
yeah, you see it with Frenchie and Kimiko as well. And the moment where they do kind of reunite is when Kimiko goes to that rally, the Stormfront rally, and Frenchie tells her, you're not going to survive this.
That would have been a bad look for her, too. I was really hoping that she wasn't going to do it.
Well, that's the thing. Vought can spin any sort of civilian attack into their terrorist.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, it's her brother, right? Her brother was the person they deemed a terrorist last episode, so...
I think that's one of the problems I have with Kimiko's character is that it's a revenge plot. It's just we've seen it so many times where the character becomes more interesting because you want her to kill someone who's awful. It's a bit lazy, but you like Kimiko because she's a badass and she has powers and she's on the good guy's side.
I like that it's not the team's revenge plot, though. It's just hers, The story's not revolving around Kimiko.
That is a good point. There are a lot of personal motivations going on in this show.
Well, you would assume that their interests would align with this revelation that Liberty is Stormfront, and that could be an avenue for the boys to exploit to further help bring down Vought.
Right, yeah. The thing is, with a character like Stormfront Liberty, she's so awful that you don't need that much motivation to take her down. It's not like Kimiko would have been so against this, like, let's give her a day in court. But she obviously has the extra motivation from her brother's death.
With all the PR stuff, I wonder if they're going to use the lady in Raleigh to help take down Vought. And she can very well nowadays, like you couldn't do it back in the 70s, but nowadays you can very well come out and say that she's late Liberty and start grilling her on it and letting that out.
You go to, that's the thing. They tried with Compound V, and then Vought was able to spin it.
Yeah, I guess. All right.
So this is some older woman who's living in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Yeah,
of course, of course, Stormfront's not Liberty. What have you at? You crazy?
Yeah.
So that's very easy to spin. When it goes to the rallies that Stormfront is holding, you have to imagine that she's on the same page as Stan Edgar, because there's no way that Edgar.
What will let her say this?
She's been she did it for an entire episode, so maybe we haven't seen that confrontation yet. But like I said, he was the one who appointed her in the 7.
I think it's just their way to show that they don't know anything about it. So as long as the superheroes stay relevant and liked by the public, then I guess Vaught's popularity and like they won't tank as much.
Yeah,
that's an interesting idea.
It's capturing different demographics too. I mean, you got Homelander, like we said on the regular view, the very conservative Christian value, all-American type character, and you have this new age persona that you gave to Stormfront, anti-establishment, rallying and getting people, getting people together against these corporations. Obviously with both characters, it's just a huge facade, but it's kind of just, I guess, casting a wide net to get as much public support as you can.
Do you guys think A-Train's gonna join the boys, or he's gonna do his own little thing?
That scene was funny when A-Train is kicked out.
Oh yeah,
when he sees
you were getting me coffee.
When he sees Shockwave in the elevator, he knows right away that he is definitely out. And it's funny that Homelander mentions that he may not even be top 20, so that there are a lot of speedsters in this world. But hey, top 20 is still pretty good.
I thought he meant top 20 of superheroes. You think you think he meant speedsters?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because that was his whole selling point, fastest man in the world. And
well, that's why he was taking the V last season, right? To make sure he beat Shockwave in that race.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it's messing with his heart. He can't run anymore. And when she was giving him the farewell tour, you could get your own reality show. You could hit all the talk show circuits.
I take it.
Yeah, I always love the way that they mix real life, just celebrity culture, with superheroism.
Well,
and Homelander is just such a dick.
You bring up a good point. They're showing how real life celebrities act. It's a great parallel to us too, because with all Stormfront doesn't know shit. She has this massive gathering and she's manipulating the public.
No, that's a great point. Yeah, and she has that line where she says to Starlight that this world is confusing nice for good. If you can build up this reputation, if you can wield your influence, like you said, a lot of these celebrities who take up certain causes and issues really don't know shit.
Yeah.
And no, yeah, that's a good point. The way that these companies and these corporations try to manipulate the masses through the celebrity.
I'm glad that Frenchie's back on track though. After he had his little confession to I guess the chick he's banging from first season. Now he's back on track with Kimiko. Hopefully the boys can link back up again now.
Well, they shared that moment too when he tries to prevent her from going out Stormfront, where she kind of looks at him like a little longingly and then immediately, gets angry at him again. Yeah. So I think there's still that connection there. I think Frenchie, we saw he's doing drugs. He's all fucked up from what's been happening. So obviously it wasn't the best move to make on Kimiko while she's grieving her dead brother.
Mm-hmm.
But deep down, he's just doing what he thinks is best for her and trying to help. And, obviously made the wrong decision, but I'm sure they'll link up later on in the season and kind of rekindle things.
She does make a good point that Kimiko is not a kitten in a tree, so she doesn't need to be saved. She is pretty powerful. She does have superpowers.
Do you guys think he was going to let Doppelganger do it? I thought he was going to let him do it, because I think Homelander, like I said, is so manipulative that he was actually falling for it.
That whole dynamic is...
It's so weird.
It's very odd. I mean, even when he turns back in the middle when they were just hanging out, and he's like, "Turn the fuck back," and then he kind of looks up and is like, "All right, it's still Will again. Okay, all right, I could do this."
I wonder how much the Doppelganger knows, because he was talking to him like he actually was Stillwell.
Yeah, he told him probably he knows all the inside out, so you got to assume that he was going to kill him anyway. But it's just some weird type of therapeutic.
He's so weird, man. There's no other way to put it. He's just a weird fucking guy.
Well, what he's talking about to Stillwell is all the love and admiration is what really keeps him going. And he's complaining about Stormfront, saying, "Oh, she's a new media whore who's the new face of the Seven," and Stillwell's patting him and telling him, "No, everyone loves you. You're still the best in the world." And that was the image, and that was the way that Madeline Stillwell controlled him, by telling him this and feeding him these lies about the love and perception that the public has of him. And at the end, when Doppelganger turns into Homelander and he sees himself, he's seeing that image that Stillwell tried to create, and that was how she tamed him. And what does he do? He kills that version of himself and says, "I don't need you. I don't need anyone. I don't need this fake adulation anymore. I'm just going to be
I think the Doppelganger. God." Yeah, I think the Doppelganger really screwed things up.
Well, I think it was inevitable that he was going in that direction. Yeah, no, he should have just cut out.
Yeah.
Just turned into...
Fuck you want, guy? Tell me. What do you
Turn into
want?
Michael Cera. You can't hurt Michael Cera. He's a sweetheart.
It's well, going back to his conversation with Stormfront, it's kind of, in a way, he's killing that perception that what Stormfront was talking about, and kind of killing his old self. It's very, on the nose there, but
it works well because
you're
not thinking about that in this moment.
Yeah.
You're thinking Anthony Starr is trying to seduce Anthony Starr, and it's hilarious. He's got the lingerie, he's got the muscles. It's like, you look hot, right? You see how hot you look? It's just funny. And then, the symbolism is pretty obvious, but
it's basically
a lot of it is for the
masturbating, right?
show. Yes, I think so. Well, that's the thing. If you're good looking, like if you're Hugh Jackman, you want Hugh Jackman to top you off. I did get a kick out of him watching Taxi Driver. That's just when you're watching an awkward movie with your mom.
That's so funny. You see, when someone gets out of line, that's what you do.
Yeah. You've just been taking everyone's shit. You just snap.
It's kind of like what everyone was
taking the wrong message.
Remember, like when Joker was coming out and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this movie's gonna incite people to do all this violence," and there's never that's kind of like what they were talking about, like him sympathizing with that type of character.
Well, and that's a great point, because Taxi Driver didn't make Homelander that way. He was already coming into the movie with these feelings. So, when people try to say that these movies incite certain feelings, a lot of it is just people who already had these feelings to begin with.
Yeah. And
so that was a nice little commentary on that.
Well, it is interesting, too, now that he kind of metaphorically killed that old version of himself, how he's going to, I guess, enact this new image.
Embrace his new image?
Yeah, because she made the point that you only need 5 million soldiers. So is he going to completely go off-brand and just try to promote different ideals and try to just get a hardcore fan base surrounding him? Because it is a scary thought. Like, we've seen what he's capable of while he's somewhat operating under company lines. For him to kind of go rogue, there's no telling what he could do.
Did you guys think he was actually going to kill Starlight? He took his gloves off, and I really thought that was the end for Starlight. And being the boys, I wouldn't put it past him.
No way. No, because Starlight is just too important to the show.
Yeah.
And I think she has to have a moment where she just comes face to face with him and they square off, like you mentioned, that you wanted to see her at full strength against this guy.
I wonder. I wonder who is going to be his adversary. I guess is it going to be Starlight? It's Stormfront.
I wonder which one of the 7 is going to stand against Homelander. I don't know. What do you think about Homelander looking at the memes? That was funny.
Fucking hilarious. Shit, I would do.
They do a good job at that as well. They did it with the IG Live. It felt very realistic, and these memes were funny.
It's me
Save
going through the
America?
comments on YouTube.
Yeah. And there was like the real leader of the 7, just her face photoshopped on Homelander's body.
But think
It's
about
so
it, man.
ridiculous.
Celebrities can see all these memes. It's like it puts a good like sight on what celebrities can be doing.
Oh
too.
no, they're aware of it. When Drake mentioned, he mentions in one of his songs, "I see you guys laughing, calling me soft all the time." Yeah, no, they're aware of it, and he's just sitting there. He's so pissed off. And she says to him, "I have 5 guys with laptops. I pay them with Arby's gift cards, and we're running circles around you. You did this dumbass $300 million Saving America campaign with your fucking focus groups. I'm just making memes, baby." So it's funny. It's the new age of politics, right? That's what they talk about. 2008 election. John McCain was very old school, where they were bragging about all their picket signs. And Obama's campaign was like, "Dude, we're on the internet." That's where you got to be these days. It's about getting your internet following. I did get a kick out of seeing Homelander with the Confederate flag.
I like the.
It's our heritage.
I like the. It was like the abortion post. It's like, this baby could have been super. Well, it kind of throws a wrench in it with the whole Compound V revelation. It's like, no, it wouldn't have. It could have been if you injected it with this serum a couple of years later.
If you would have called me ahead of time, I would have had it.
I want to go back to this. Ted, would you give your kid Compound V?
You kidding me?
Yeah, you're still on that, huh?
100%.
Even after seeing everything that's been
100%.
revealed. And
What if he becomes like an archer? Kind of a waste.
Eagle the Archer.
Archer. He'll be in the Olympics doing archery.
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't give your kid Compound V? Was this mentioned in the first season? Can they pick the power? They can't, right?
We had this debate. Yeah, we said it's like a plan.
Oh.
Yeah, it's more expensive. If
I
you
didn't
want
miss
the better
that, right?
power. You could special finance it. No, they've never said that.
All right. Oh, I don't know then. That would suck if you like take the Compound V and you can like fucking
Archery?
grow hair really fast or something. I don't know.
And I guess we'll end this episode by talking about the Deep and his continuation, his association with this cult. I've already forgot the name, the Church of the Collective.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Goes by,
I
yeah.
just remembered it. And I mentioned this on the better, more official, great review that we did.
Yep.
Taking so many digs at Scientology throughout this season, and it's fantastic. Taking digs at Tom Cruise, assigning you your wife, rehabilitating your image, and just rewatching the episode in preparation for this review. Poor guy, not getting to choose Gianna.
I want to know
They had
what
great chemistry.
I want to
There's
know
just
what their
something about
church
her.
is planning for Vought, because obviously there's no reason that this church just picked the Deep and wants to get him back into 7 without pulling the strings on the 7.
Well, that's the thing. You have a foot in the door with the Deep, because technically he's still officially on the team. And I wonder if A-Train is now going to be just that whole idea scrapped because of that interview where he got questioned about Heroes So White. And he's like, we have A-Train. Look at that. A-Train coming out of retirement that quickly. But with the Deep, I have no idea what this cult is planning. Just reading up on his character description, they say that he's charismatic and a good leader. So he's got to have some sort of plan. I didn't find these scenes to be that funny, these interviews.
No,
They were very hit or miss.
I was confused most of the time when they came on. It opened up with this, and it just cut into something else. I'm like, oh, that's weird.
Right, yeah, it was weird. It was a little jarring, and it kind of took you out of it in a good way. I just didn't think they were funny. I think if these interviews had been a bit more clever.
I still like where they're going with the Deep, though, how they're not really putting him in there, because I like his storyline right now, too.
Yeah, I think it's been more interesting than season 1, because he is just a dumbass character.
He's so susceptible to being, I guess, brainwashed by this type of cult, right? And they can just feed it and obviously you see what the 7 means to these characters. Like A-Train, he was talking to Starlight, and even when he was let go of the 7, and just how it ruined the Deep. They're able to prey on that to, I guess, convince him to be lockstep in what their beliefs are and what they want to do going forward. So it is interesting to see. I don't know if they're going to be successful in this endeavor, because we see the way Vought works and how they market their heroes. I don't know if they can market it as like a redemption tour for the Deep. I don't know if that plays anymore, but I don't know. It's interesting to see. They could just be manipulating him and trying to get something else out of that character, and promising, oh yeah, you'll be in the 7, but really this is what we're gonna do.
Right? Yeah. There's another plan there.
It's funny hearing you say being in a 7 just means money for them. It's like they can give a shit less about being superheroes. It's just about making money. I think that's so funny that we're looking at superheroes caring more about their image. Like A-Train probably wanted to kill himself because he talks in like the first couple episodes about how much money you make being in talking with Starlight. Being in the 7.
He tells Starlight when she says
Millions.
money's not everything, and he says only a person who grew up with money would say something like that. And that's, you begin to sympathize with this character because he's probably worked his entire life to get to this point, and then it's sort of like the Deep, you become too full of yourself, and if it all gets taken away, it's a humbling experience. And I don't know, you asked the question, we didn't really answer it. Do you think A-Train is going to fight with the boys? I don't think so. He doesn't seem like a character that's going to fight on either side. Maybe. If he was going to pick a side, I would say he probably leans towards the boys, but once again, he can, if his heart is fixed somehow, if he gets that fixed and he wants to prove himself to Homelander that I'm one of the 7 again and I'm loyal, just to maintain that status of being a god.
Well, I think we talked about it with Homelander too. Like, if there is going to be any opposition for him, it's going to be a collaborative effort. You're going to have to get, like, Starlight obviously is against him, but you're going to have to convince Queen Maeve, which is probably very easy to do, to join and fight against him. But you're gonna have to get people like maybe the Deep, maybe A-Train. Black Noir is probably his only, and Stormfront, I guess. Maybe that's like their kind of crew of.
I don't know. I think Black
Noir who would oppose the boys, but you'd have to rally everyone else to kind of team up and go against them and bring them down.
I think Black Noir can be manipulated too, where if he figures something out about the Homelander that he doesn't like, he's gone instantly. A-Train is going to be the first puzzle piece to make this more realistic to combat Homelander.
Well, that's the thing. It's not even the boys versus the 7 anymore. All these teams are fractured.
Right.
In the first couple of episodes, the boys had infighting. The 7, of course, are never on the same page. One of them doesn't even speak. One of them's a white supremacist. The other one's evil Superman. And like we said, Maeve, A-Train, Starlight, they're having misgivings about even being in this team. And Stan Edgar and Stormfront, what's that relationship there? What is the new conspiracy with Vought? It's not as simple. It never has been as simple as good versus evil. There's good and bad on both sides, and they do a good job of that. But you would think that the ultimate end game is a scenario in which Vought is brought down and Homelander is finally killed. Because he's just a character that, especially if he goes down this route of fully embracing his identity as a god, as a being that's superior to all other people, even Supes, then that's someone you have to take out. If you could tame that and you can use it to your benefit, like Stillwell was able to do in Vought over all these years, it's great, can make you billions and billions of dollars. But if he decides that he wants to take over the world, he's going to enslave the entire planet.
Do you think Butcher just accepts it that Rebecca doesn't want to be with him, and he goes back to the boys, and now his whole mission is taking down Homelander again?
Well, that's the thing. Butcher he has that mindset. It's a weird Batman-Joker dynamic where they're both crazy. So you need someone just as crazy as Homelander to take him out.
Well, his reasoning, or Becca's reasoning, was that they're not going to be able to have a normal life while Vought and Homelander are out there. So I think you just go back to the old plan. It's like, all right, well, now I have even more motivation to try to kill Homelander and destroy Vought. So
was really surprised, though, that he didn't mask it more and convince Rebecca that he wants to be with her kid. Because I thought he could have easily manipulated him to help fighting Homelander. I think that's inevitably coming, right?
It makes things that much more complicated. If you run away with this evil Superman's child, do you know what type of rampage that this man is going to go on? If he found Butcher and Becca with his kid? Yeah. And that's the thing. They were talking like Butcher was going to raise him. And he's like, I don't think I'm a great role model. He was kind of playing along with Becca.
He's not going to be here that long. So.
And he's not a great role model. I mean, both of his possible father figures are pretty awful. Let Frenchie raise the kid, right? Frenchie
and he was on a rampage before this.
Yeah, and just to hit on this crazy transition here, but going to Frenchie and kind of the guilt that he feels over what happened with Grace's children. That was interesting to get more insight into that. You know, you look at Frenchie and he's obviously a criminal, so he has a rough past. But that seems to hang over all of the boys that were there, that were back then for that. And you wonder if they're foreshadowing something like that happening again, where one of these characters is just going to face a brutal death that scars all of the so-called good guys. You don't know.
I've been waiting for it. I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet. Should we take bets on the first one going? It can't be much. I think it's going to be Frenchie.
Oh, out of the boys, who's the first one of the boys to die?
Someone's got to go, right? Can you agree on that?
Yeah.
I think it's Frenchie.
Do you think any of them die this season?
Oof.
I don't think so.
That's tough. No, I don't think so either.
I could see Huey dying. I could see Frenchie. Maybe Butcher eventually, but not this early on. I don't know. It's tough. It's
Maybe
hard,
Butcher
like,
now, though, that he handled the mantle over, I guess, per se.
It's also a show where I wouldn't want any of them to die.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I understand that they're in all these dangerous predicaments, but I like the fact that they can walk around and not get spotted even though they're wanted.
Sometimes
they
you need.
survive.
It's driving me insane.
Sometimes you need Star Wars where everyone makes it out okay.
Exactly. It just fits the vibes of
Yeah.
this show. It's either going to be hyper realistic at times, or it's not. Or it's a superhero show where no one ever dies and everyone's always in their costumes.
But if they do have to, I hope it is it's beneficial to the story. Like Game of Thrones, the thing is your favorite character dies, but it has such an impact on the story going forward that it makes it that much better.
Yeah, it's not
it's not just
a shock factor.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. You just kill someone off for the fuck of it. And this show really hasn't done that. I mean, the biggest death in season 1 was probably Stillwell, and we see the repercussions of that death. Certainly. All right, well, that is the review for episode 4 of The Boys season 2. Nothing like it in the world. Thank you guys for watching this review, and like it, share it with your friends, your family.
Am I gonna be on the 5th one?
I don't know. Depends on the comments for this one.
All right.
You guys decide. Is
I'll
Teddy
take
going to
that.
be on the next review? Let us know.
I'm
All
gonna
right,
do
guys.
a poll on it.
Follow him at Teddy Nerd Soup on Twitter. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next week. Well, would you look at that? It's finally over. Hey guys, Bo Oliver here for one final send-off. Now, before I beg you guys to like and share this video, I'd like to thank our very special Patreon pledgers. We are very proud of the community we've been able to build here at Nerd Soup, and it would not have been possible without our Patreon supporters. You guys are the true MVPs of this channel. Everything I've said, you keep the fridge full, you keep the lights on. There aren't enough words to thank you guys, but we'll do it anyway. Thank you. And we have a few videos coming up that have been suggested to us by Patreon pledgers. My Hero Academia, Neon Genesis Evangelion, and Full Metal Alchemist will be reviewed by Marissa, and yours truly, and Castlevania, which will be reviewed by Marissa and Aaron. And if you'd like to consider donating to our Patreon page, you can visit patreon.com/nerdsoup and check out some of the rewards we offer to our listeners. And really, we'd like to thank everyone who takes the time out of their day to watch our videos. Patreon pledger or not, your support is what keeps us motivated to keep giving the world our opinions on movies and TV shows and video games and pop culture, even though no one asked for it. We're still here, we're still yapping, and we hope you continue to join us. I'm Bo Oliver, and I support this message.